Welcome to the ultimate guide on AWS cloud interview preparation. In this video, we'll cover 200 carefully crafted questions and answers, from fundamentals of cloud and AWS services to advanced topics like serverless, AI/ML, DevOps, security, real-world case studies, and the future of cloud computing. Whether you're preparing for cloud architect, DevOps engineer, or AWS solutions architect roles, this video is your all-in-one masterclass on AWS. What is cloud computing? Cloud computing is the on-demand delivery of IT resources like servers, storage, databases, and networking over the internet with pay-as-you-go pricing. Instead of buying and maintaining physical infrastructure, organizations rent resources from cloud providers such as AWS, Azure, or Google Cloud. What are the different cloud service models? Cloud computing has three primary models. IaaS, infrastructure as a service, like EC2 storage. PaaS, platform as a service, like Elastic Beanstalk, Heroku. SaaS, software as a service, like Gmail, Salesforce. AWS mainly provides IaaS and PaaS, while enabling SaaS on top of its infrastructure. What are the deployment models of cloud computing? Deployment models include public cloud, shared infrastructure, AWS, private cloud, dedicated infrastructure, hybrid cloud, mix of public and private, multi-cloud, multiple providers. AWS supports hybrid with services like Outposts. What is AWS and why is it popular? AWS, Amazon Web Services, is the leading cloud provider offering 200+ services for compute, storage, networking, AI and ML, DevOps, and security. Its popularity comes from global presence, scalability, cost-effectiveness, and rich ecosystem. What are the advantages of AWS Cloud? Key benefits include elastic scalability, pay-as-you-go pricing, global availability zones, high reliability and security, wide service portfolio. Together, these help businesses innovate faster. What is the AWS global infrastructure? It consists of regions, availability zones, and edge locations. Regions are geographic areas, AZs are isolated data centers within regions, and edge locations support low-latency content delivery via CloudFront. What is the difference between AWS region and availability zone? Region, a physical location worldwide. Example is OS East 1. Availability zone, one or more isolated data centers within a region. AZS ensure high availability, while regions provide geographic distribution. What is the AWS free tier? The free tier allows new users to explore AWS services for free with usage limits. It includes 12 months of free access to services like EC2, 750 hours a month, S3, 5 gigabytes, and always free offers like Lambda. What is elasticity in AWS? Elasticity is the ability to scale resources up or down automatically based on demand. For example, auto-scaling can add EC2 instances during peak traffic and remove them when demand drops, reducing costs. What is scalability in AWS? Scalability means the ability to handle increasing workloads by adding resources. AWS supports vertical scaling, bigger instance types, and horizontal scaling, adding more instances, ensuring applications can grow seamlessly. What is the shared responsibility model in AWS? In AWS, security is shared. AWS secures the cloud, like infrastructure, hardware, physical data centers. Customers secure what's in the cloud, like applications, data, user access. This ensures clarity of roles and security. What are some core AWS services? Core services include compute, EC2, Lambda, storage, S3, EBS, Glacier, databases, RDS, DynamoDB, networking, VPC, CloudFront, security, IAM, KMS. These form the building blocks of AWS. What is the well-architected framework in AWS? It's a set of best practices for designing cloud systems, focusing on 5 pillars. 1. Operational excellence. 2. Security. 3. Reliability. 4. Performance efficiency 5. Cost optimization. It guides building secure, efficient architectures. How does AWS ensure high availability? AWS provides redundancy with multiple availability zones, load balancing across instances, and disaster recovery options. Services like RDS multi-AZ and S3 replication ensure resilience against failures. What is fault tolerance in AWS? Fault tolerance means the system continues functioning even if parts fail. AWS achieves this through multi-AZ deployments, self-healing services like S3, and automated failover with Route 53. What is the pay-as-you-go pricing model in AWS? AWS charges only for the resources consumed without upfront costs. For example, you pay by the hour for EC2 or by the GB stored in S3. This makes AWS cost-efficient and scalable. What is the difference between CapEx and OpEx in cloud? Capital expenditure, buying hardware upfront, traditional IT. OpEx, operational expenditure, pay-as-you-go costs, cloud. AWS enables OPEX, reducing upfront investment and improving flexibility. What are edge locations in AWS? Edge locations are data centers used by CloudFront to cache content closer to users, reducing latency and improving content delivery performance globally. How does AWS handle disaster recovery? AWS provides multiple disaster recovery strategies: backup and restore, pilot light, warm standby, multi-site active services like Route 53, and Cloud Endure automate failover. Why do companies migrate to AWS Cloud? Key reasons include cost savings, scalability, faster time to market, global reach, enhanced security, and innovation opportunities using advanced services like AI and ML and serverless computing. What is Amazon EC2? Amazon EC2, Elastic Compute Cloud, provides scalable virtual servers in the cloud. Users can choose instance types, operating systems, and configurations, paying only for what they use. It's the backbone of AWS compute services. What are EC2 instance types? EC2 offers families optimized for different workloads: general purpose, T3, M5, compute optimized, C5, memory optimized, R5, storage optimized, I3, accelerated computing, page 3 for GPUs. This flexibility allows cost-performance optimization. What is the difference between on-demand, reserved, and spot instances? On-demand, pay by the hour/second, flexible. Reserved, commit for 1 to 3 years for up to 75% discount. Spot, unused capacity at big discounts, but can be terminated anytime. Each fits different workload needs. What is EC2 autoscaling? Autoscaling automatically adjusts the number of EC2 instances based on demand. It ensures applications remain available while optimizing costs by scaling in during low traffic and scaling out during peaks. What is Amazon Elastic Load Balancing ELB? ELB distributes traffic across multiple EC2 instances to ensure high availability and fault tolerance. Types include Application LB, Network LB, and Gateway LB, each designed for specific traffic patterns. What is Amazon Lightsail? Lightsail is a simplified cloud platform that provides virtual servers, storage, and networking in a bundled package. It's designed for developers needing quick, easy, and low-cost deployments. What is AWS Elastic Beanstalk? Elastic Beanstalk is a PaaS that lets developers deploy and manage applications without handling infrastructure. It supports multiple languages like Java, Python, Node.js, and automatically manages scaling, monitoring, and patching. What is AWS Lambda? AWS Lambda is a serverless compute service where you run code without provisioning servers. You're billed per request and execution time, making it ideal for event-driven workloads. What are the benefits of AWS Lambda? Key benefits: no server management. Auto-scaling, pay only for usage. Event-driven triggers, example is S3 uploads. It's perfect for microservices, automation, and real-time apps. What is the maximum execution time for AWS Lambda? Currently, Lambda functions can run for up to 15 minutes per invocation. For longer-running processes, AWS recommends using step functions or containerized workloads in ECS or EKS. What is AWS Fargate? Fargate is a serverless compute engine for containers. It allows running ECS and EKS workloads without managing servers, scaling automatically based on container demand. What is Amazon ECS? Amazon ECS, Elastic Container Service, is a fully managed container orchestration service. It supports running Docker containers on EC2 or Fargate with deep AWS integration. What is Amazon EKS? Amazon EKS, Elastic Kubernetes Service, is a managed Kubernetes service. It automates cluster management, scaling, and upgrades, allowing developers to run Kubernetes workloads securely on AWS. What is the difference between ECS and EKS? ECS, AWS Native Container Orchestration. EKS, Managed Kubernetes. ECS is simpler with tight AWS integration, while EKS provides flexibility and portability with the Kubernetes ecosystem. What is AWS Batch? AWS Batch runs large-scale batch processing jobs on AWS. It dynamically provisions compute resources and schedules workloads efficiently, making it suitable for scientific, financial, or analytics workloads. What is AWS Outposts? Outposts bring AWS services to on-premises environments. It provides hybrid cloud consistency, enabling enterprises to run EC2, S3, and more in their own data centers with AWS integration. What is AWS Wavelength? Wavelength extends AWS services to telecom 5G networks, enabling ultra-low latency applications like AR or VR, IoT, and autonomous vehicles by placing compute closer to users at the edge. What is AWS Local Zones? Local zones bring AWS compute, storage, and networking closer to large population centers. They reduce latency for applications requiring single-digit millisecond response times, like gaming and streaming. What is Elastic Fabric Adapter, EFA, in AWS? EFA is a high-performance network interface for EC2 designed for HPC and ML workloads. It enables low-latency, high-bandwidth communication, supporting parallel computing at scale. How do you choose the right compute option in AWS? It depends on workload. EC2 for full control, auto-scaling for elasticity, Lambda for serverless, event-driven apps, ECS or EKS for containers, batch for large computations, outposts or local zones or wavelength for hybrid and edge cases. What is Amazon S3? Amazon S3, Simple Storage Service, is AWS's object storage service. It stores data as objects in buckets with virtually unlimited scalability, 99.9999999% durability, and access via web APIs. It's widely used for backups, static websites, and big data storage. What are S3 storage classes? S3 offers multiple classes for different use cases. Standard, frequent access, intelligent tiering, automatic cost optimization, standard IA and one-zone IA, infrequent access, Glacier and Glacier, deep archive, archival. Choosing the right class optimizes cost and performance. What is versioning in S3? Versioning keeps multiple versions of an object in the same bucket. It protects against accidental deletions or overwrites, enabling recovery of previous object versions. What is S3 lifecycle management? Lifecycle rules automatically transition objects between storage classes or expire them after a set time. For example, moving logs to Glacier after 30 days to reduce costs. What is the difference between S3 and EBS? S3, object storage, scalable, accessed via APIs, ideal for backups and static content. EBS, block storage, attached to EC2, low latency, ideal for OS and databases. They serve different workloads. What is Amazon EFS? EFS, Elastic File System, provides scalable, fully managed network file storage. It can be mounted on multiple EC2 instances simultaneously, making it useful for shared file systems. What is the difference between EBS and EFS? EBS, block storage, attached to a single EC2 instance, lower latency. EFS, network file system, shared by multiple instances, scales automatically. EBS is best for databases, EFS for shared workloads. What is Amazon Glacier? Glacier is archival storage for infrequently accessed data at very low cost. Retrieval times range from minutes to hours, making it suitable for compliance, backups, and long-term data retention. What is AWS Storage Gateway? Storage Gateway connects on-premises environments to AWS storage. It supports hybrid use cases such as backup, caching, and disaster recovery by exposing AWS storage as local volumes or file shares. What is Amazon RDS? RDS, Relational Database Service, is a managed service for relational databases. It supports engines like MySQL, PostgreSQL, Oracle, and SQL Server, automating backups, patching, and scaling. What is Amazon Aurora? Aurora is a high-performance MySQL and PostgreSQL compatible database. It offers 5 times throughput of MySQL, replication across multiple AZs, and auto-scaling storage up to 128 terabytes with high availability. What is Amazon DynamoDB? DynamoDB is a fully managed NoSQL database that delivers single-digit millisecond latency at scale. It supports key-value and document models with built-in replication, security, and on-demand scaling. What is DynamoDB Streams? DynamoDB Streams captures a time-ordered sequence of changes to table items. It enables use cases like real-time analytics, triggers, and replication. What is Amazon Redshift? Redshift is AWS's fully managed data warehouse. It enables fast querying of petabyte-scale datasets using CQL, optimized for OLAP and BI workloads. What is Amazon Elasticache? Elasticache provides in-memory caching using Redis or Memcached. It improves application performance by reducing database load and delivering microsecond response times. What is Amazon Neptune? Neptune is a fully managed graph database that supports property graph and RDF models. It's designed for graph queries, powering recommendation engines, fraud detection, and knowledge graphs. What is Amazon DocumentDB? DocumentDB is a fully managed document database compatible with MongoDB APIs. It's used for applications requiring semi-structured JSON data and scales horizontally. What is Amazon QLDB? QLDB, Quantum Ledger Database, is a serverless ledger database that provides an immutable, transparent, and cryptographically verifiable transaction log. It's useful for audit and compliance systems. What is Amazon Keyspaces? Amazon Keyspaces is AWS's managed Apache Cassandra service. It supports Cassandra Query Language, CQL, and provides scalability, security, and reliability without managing clusters. How do you choose between RDS, DynamoDB, and Redshift? RDS, or Aurora, Transactional Workloads, OLTP. DynamoDB, High-Scale NoSQL Workloads. Redshift, Analytics and BI, OLAP. The choice depends on workload type, latency requirements, and scaling needs. What is Amazon VPC? Amazon VPC, Virtual Private Cloud, lets you provision a logically isolated section of AWS where you can launch resources in a virtual network. You control IP ranges, subnets, route tables, gateways, and security settings. What are public and private subnets in VPC? Public subnets, accessible from the internet via an internet gateway. Private subnets, no direct internet access, used for databases or internal services. This separation enhances security and design flexibility. What is an internet gateway in AWS? An internet gateway IGW enables communication between resources in a VPC and the internet. It's attached at the VPC level and routes public subnet traffic externally. What is a NAT gateway? A NAT gateway allows private subnet instances to access the internet for updates or downloads while preventing inbound traffic from reaching them. It balances security with connectivity. What is AWS Direct Connect? Direct Connect establishes a dedicated private network link between your data center and AWS. It provides lower latency, more consistent performance, and enhanced security compared to standard internet connections. What is AWS Transit Gateway? Transit Gateway enables connectivity between multiple VPCs, on-premises networks, and remote offices through a central hub. It simplifies large-scale network architectures and reduces management overhead. What is Amazon Route 53? Route 53 is AWS's scalable DNS and domain registration service. It provides domain name resolution, routing policies, and health checks to direct traffic reliably across regions and endpoints. What routing policies are available in Route 53? Policies include simple routing, weighted routing, latency-based routing, failover routing, geolocation, and geo-proximity routing. These provide flexibility and traffic distribution. What is Amazon CloudFront? CloudFront is a global content delivery network, CDN, that caches content at edge locations. It delivers low latency, high-speed access to users worldwide, improving application performance and scalability. How does CloudFront integrate with S3? CloudFront can serve static and dynamic content directly from S3 buckets. It caches data at edge locations, reducing latency, and supports signed URLs for secure distribution. What is AWS Global Accelerator? Global Accelerator routes user traffic to the optimal AWS endpoint using AWS's global network. Unlike CloudFront content caching, it accelerates TCP or UDP traffic for applications with static or dynamic content. What is the difference between CloudFront and Global Accelerator? CloudFront, CDN, caches content at edge locations. Global Accelerator routes user requests through the AWS backbone for performance and availability. Both reduce latency but serve different use cases. What is a VPC peering connection? VPC peering allows private connectivity between two VPCs using AWS's backbone network. Traffic stays within AWS infrastructure without traversing the internet, ensuring security and low latency. What is the difference between VPC peering and Transit Gateway? VPC peering, direct connection between two VPCs, simple but limited for many VPCs. Transit Gateway, hub and spoke model for connecting multiple VPCs and on-premises networks at scale. What are security groups in AWS? Security groups are virtual firewalls at the instance level. They control inbound and outbound traffic based on rules. Examples are: allow SSH on port 22. They're stateful, meaning return traffic is automatically allowed. What are network ACLs in AWS? Network ACLs act as stateless firewalls at the subnet level. They control inbound and outbound traffic using rules evaluated in order. Unlike security groups, they don't automatically allow return traffic. What is the difference between security groups and NACLS? Security groups, instance level, stateful, allow rules only. NACLS, subnet level, stateless, allow and deny rules. Both are often used together for layered security. What is an elastic IP in AWS? An elastic IP is a static IPv4 address that you can allocate to your AWS account. It can be reassigned between instances, providing high availability for applications. What is AWS Private Link? Private Link enables secure, private connectivity between VPCs and AWS services or third-party SaaS providers without exposing traffic to the public internet. How does AWS ensure global low-latency networking? AWS achieves this through its global backbone network, 30-plus regions, 100-plus availability zones, and 400-plus edge locations. Services like CloudFront, Global Accelerator, and Direct Connect further reduce latency worldwide. What is AWS IAM? AWS Identity and Access Management. IAM lets you control access to AWS resources. You can create users, groups, and roles, and assign permissions using fine-grained policies written in JSON. It's the foundation of AWS security. What are IAM roles? IAM roles are identities with permissions that can be assumed temporarily by users, applications, or services. Roles are often used for cross-account access, EC2 applications, and service-to-service communication without hard-coding credentials. What is the principle of least privilege in AWS? It means giving users or roles only the permissions they need to perform their tasks, nothing more. Applying least privilege minimizes the attack surface and reduces the risk of accidental misuse. What is AWS organizations? AWS organizations lets you manage multiple AWS accounts under a single structure. You can apply service control policies, SCPS, across accounts, consolidate billing, and enforce compliance centrally. What are service control policies, SCPS? SCPS are policies applied at the AWS organizations level to manage permissions across accounts. They don't grant access but set boundaries on what IAM users and roles can do. What is AWS Cognito? Amazon Cognito provides authentication, authorization, and user management for web and mobile apps. It supports user pools, identity federation with social logins, and integrates with IAM for fine-grained access control. What is AWS KMS? AWS Key Management Service. KMS allows you to create and manage cryptographic keys. It integrates with most AWS services for encryption at rest and in transit, ensuring data security. What is AWS Cloud HSM? Cloud HSM is a managed hardware security module service. It provides dedicated, tamper-resistant devices for customers who need single-tenant control over encryption keys for compliance reasons. What is AWS Shield? AWS Shield provides DDoS protection for applications running on AWS. Shield Standard, free, protects against common attacks. Shield Advanced, paid, offers advanced detection, mitigation, and cost protection. What is AWS WAF? AWS Web Application. Firewall protects applications from common web exploits like SQL injection and XSS. It integrates with CloudFront, ALB, and API Gateway to block malicious traffic. What is GuardDuty? Amazon GuardDuty is a threat detection service that continuously monitors AWS accounts, logs, and network activity for suspicious behavior, like unauthorized access or data exfiltration. What is AWS Inspector? Amazon Inspector automatically scans EC2 instances and container workloads for vulnerabilities or deviations from security best practices. It helps with compliance and risk reduction. What is AWS Massey? Amazon Massey uses machine learning to discover and protect sensitive data in S3, like personal identifiers or financial information. It helps with GDPR and other data protection compliance. What is AWS Artifact? AWS Artifact provides on-demand access to AWS compliance reports and security documentation. Examples are SOC, ISO, GDP. What is the difference between AWS Shield and WAF? Shield protects against DDoS attacks, network level. WAF protects against application-level attacks like SQL injection. They complement each other for layered security. What is AWS Security Hub? Security Hub provides a unified view of AWS security alerts across multiple services. It aggregates findings from GuardDuty, Inspector, Macy, and third-party tools, helping with centralized compliance monitoring. What is AWS Config? AWS Config continuously monitors and records AWS resource configurations. It checks compliance against predefined rules, enabling audit, governance, and remediation of non-compliant resources. What is the difference between encryption at rest and in transit? At rest, data is encrypted when stored. Examples are S3 server-side encryption. In transit, data is encrypted during transfer. Examples are TLS/SSL. AWS provides managed encryption for both. What is the AWS well-architected security pillar? The security pillar ensures systems are built with strong identity, detection, data protection, infrastructure security, and incident response. It's one of the 5 pillars of the well-architected framework. How does AWS support compliance requirements? AWS complies with major standards like ISO, HIPAA, SOC, and GDPR. Services like Artifact, Organizations, and Config help customers maintain compliance, while shared responsibility ensures AWS secures the infrastructure and customers secure their workloads. What is AWS CloudFormation? CloudFormation is an infrastructure as code (IAC) service that lets you define and provision AWS resources using templates, YAML or JSON. It enables automation, repeatability, and version control of infrastructure. What are the benefits of CloudFormation? Key benefits include automated provisioning, consistent repeatable deployments, infrastructure versioning with Git, integration with CI/CD pipelines. It reduces manual errors and accelerates delivery. What is AWS Code Commit? Code Commit is a fully managed source control service similar to GitHub. It allows teams to host secure Git repositories in AWS with integration to CodeBuild, CodePipeline, and IAM for fine-grained access. What is AWS CodeBuild? CodeBuild is a fully managed build service. It compiles source code, runs tests, and produces artifacts for deployment. It scales automatically and charges per build minute. What is AWS Code Deploy? Code Deploy automates code deployments to EC2, Lambda, and on-prem servers. It supports rolling updates, blue or green deployments, and can automatically roll back if issues are detected. What is AWS CodePipeline? CodePipeline orchestrates CI/CD workflows by connecting services like Code Commit, Code Build, and Code Deploy. It automates the release process, enabling rapid and reliable software delivery. What is the difference between Code Deploy and Code Pipeline? Code Deploy handles deployment automation only. Code Pipeline orchestrates the entire CI/CD workflow, like build, test, deploy. They're often used together. What is AWS CodeStar? CodeStar provides an integrated environment to quickly develop, build, and deploy applications on AWS. It ties together Code Commit, Code Pipeline, and IDES for faster project setup. What is AWS CloudWatch? CloudWatch is AWS's monitoring service. It collects metrics, logs, and events from AWS resources and applications. You can set alarms, create dashboards, and trigger automated actions like scaling. What is the difference between CloudWatch metrics and logs? Metrics: numerical data like CPU utilization. Logs: raw text output from applications or services. Together, they provide visibility into system health and performance. What are CloudWatch alarms? CloudWatch alarms monitor metrics and trigger actions when thresholds are breached. For example, an alarm can trigger auto-scaling if CPU usage exceeds 80%. What is AWS X-Ray? X-Ray helps developers analyze and debug distributed applications. It traces requests across services, identifies bottlenecks, and visualizes dependencies to improve performance and reliability. What is AWS CloudTrail? CloudTrail records API calls and user activity across AWS accounts. It provides audit logs of who did what, when, and from where, supporting governance, compliance, and security analysis. What is the difference between CloudWatch and CloudTrail? CloudWatch monitors performance metrics and logs. CloudTrail tracks API activity and user actions. They complement each other for observability and compliance. What is AWS Systems Manager (SSM)? Systems Manager is a management service that helps automate operational tasks like patching, configuration, and inventory across EC2 and on-premises instances. It improves compliance and reduces manual work. What is the difference between CloudFormation and Terraform? CloudFormation, AWS native IAC tool. Terraform, multi-cloud IAC tool by HashiCorp. Terraform offers portability, while CloudFormation provides deeper AWS integration. What is AWS OpsWorks? OpsWorks is a configuration management service using Chef and Puppet. It automates resource provisioning and application deployment with customizable templates. What is AWS Config versus Systems Manager? Config continuously records resource configurations and compliance. Systems Manager automates operational management, patches, commands. Both support governance but serve different purposes. What is the AWS Trusted Advisor? Trusted Advisor provides best practice checks across cost optimization, performance, security, fault tolerance, and service limits. It helps customers optimize their AWS environments proactively. What is the AWS Well-Architected Tool? This tool helps evaluate workloads against AWS's well-architected framework. It highlights risks and provides improvement recommendations across the 5 pillars: security, reliability, performance, cost, and operations. What is Amazon SageMaker? Amazon SageMaker is a fully managed service for building, training, and deploying machine learning models at scale. It handles infrastructure, provides pre-built algorithms, and integrates with popular frameworks like TensorFlow and PyTorch. What are the key components of SageMaker? SageMaker includes Studio, IDE for ML workflows, notebooks, Jupyter-based environments, Autopilot, a UTOML for quick models, training jobs and inference endpoints. These simplify end-to-end machine learning development. What is Amazon Rekognition? Rekognition is a computer vision service for image and video analysis. It detects objects, people, text, and inappropriate content, and supports facial recognition use cases. What is Amazon Comprehend? Comprehend is a natural language processing NLP service that uses ML to extract insights from text. It can detect entities, sentiment, key phrases, and relationships between words. What is Amazon Lex? Lex is a conversational AI service for building chatbots and voice assistants. It powers Alexa and supports natural language understanding, NLU, and automatic speech recognition, ASR. What is Amazon Polly? Polly is a text-to-speech, TTS, service that converts text into lifelike speech. It supports multiple languages and voices, often used in accessibility apps, chatbots, and narration. What is Amazon Transcribe? Transcribe is an automatic speech recognition, ASR service that converts speech into text. It supports multiple languages and custom vocabularies for domain-specific accuracy. What is Amazon Translate? Translate is a neural machine translation service for real-time language translation. It helps break down language barriers in applications, websites, and customer support systems. What is Amazon Kendra? Kendra is an intelligent enterprise search service. It uses ML to index and search unstructured data from documents, FAAS, and knowledge bases, providing highly relevant answers. What is Amazon Personalize? Personalize is a managed ML service for building real-time recommendation engines. It uses the same technology as Amazon.com's recommender systems, requiring no ML expertise. What is Amazon Forecast? Forecast is a fully managed time series forecasting service. It uses ML and deep learning to deliver accurate demand forecasts for retail, finance, and supply chain applications. What is Amazon Textract? Textract automatically extracts text, forms, and tables from scanned documents. Unlike OCR, it understands context and structure, making it useful for digitizing business workflows. What is AWS Glue? AWS Glue is a fully managed ETL service. It prepares and transforms data for analytics and ML using a serverless architecture. What is Amazon Athena? Athena is an interactive query service for analyzing data directly in S3 using SQL. It's serverless, pay-per-query, and integrates with Glue for schema management. What is Amazon QuickSight? QuickSight is AWS's business intelligence BI service. It allows creating dashboards, visualizations, and reports with embedded analytics, scalable to thousands of users. What is Amazon EMR? Elastic MapReduce, EMR, is a big data platform for processing vast datasets using frameworks like Hadoop, Spark, and Presto. It scales dynamically and integrates with S3 and DynamoDB. What is Amazon Kinesis? Kinesis is a platform for real-time streaming data. It offers streams for ingesting, Firehose for delivery, analytics for queries, and video streams for processing video data. What is AWS LakeFormation? LakeFormation simplifies building secure data lakes. It automates data ingestion, cleansing, cataloging, and enforces fine-grained access control across data stored in S3. What is Amazon OpenSearch Service? OpenSearch Service, formerly Elasticsearch Service, provides search and analytics capabilities. It's commonly used for log analytics, real-time search, and monitoring dashboards. How do AWS ML and analytics services integrate? Data flows from ingestion, Kinesis, Glue, S3, to storage, Redshift, CloudFormation, to analysis, Athena, EMR, QuickSight, to ML, SageMaker, Forecast, Personalize. This integration enables end-to-end intelligent applications. What is serverless computing in AWS? Serverless computing lets you run applications without managing servers. AWS automatically provisions, scales, and maintains infrastructure. You only pay for execution time and resources consumed. Examples include AWS, Lambda, Fargate, and API Gateway. What are the advantages of serverless computing? Benefits include no server management, automatic scaling, pay-per-use pricing, faster development cycles. It's ideal for microservices, event-driven systems, and unpredictable workloads. What is the difference between serverless and traditional architectures? Traditional architectures require provisioning servers upfront, while serverless abstracts infrastructure away. Serverless focuses on event-driven execution and scales automatically, reducing operational overhead compared to VM or container-based systems. What is Amazon API Gateway? API Gateway is a fully managed service for creating, deploying, and managing APIs. It supports REST, HTTP, and WebSocket APIs, integrates with Lambda, and provides features like authentication, throttling, and monitoring. What is AWS Step Functions? Step Functions is a serverless orchestration service. It coordinates multiple AWS services into workflows using state machines, making it ideal for automating long-running or complex processes. What is Amazon EventBridge? EventBridge is a serverless event bus service for connecting applications with event-driven architectures. It integrates with AWS services, SaaS apps, and custom events, enabling real-time workflows. How does EventBridge differ from SNS and SQS? SNS, pub/sub messaging for simple fanout. SQS, message queues for decoupling services. EventBridge, event bus with filtering and routing, designed for complex event-driven systems. What is AWS AppSync? AppSync is a managed GraphQL service for building real-time applications. It integrates with DynamoDB, Lambda, and RDS, enabling flexible APIs with offline support and subscription features. What is AWS SAM? Serverless Application Model. SAM is an open-source framework for building serverless applications. It simplifies defining Lambda, API Gateway, DynamoDB, and step functions using IAC templates and integrates with CI/CD pipelines. What is the AWS Serverless Application Repository? It's a marketplace of pre-built serverless applications and components. Developers can quickly deploy solutions or share their own applications with the community. What is a microservices architecture in AWS? Microservices break applications into small independent services, communicating via APIs. AWS supports microservices with containers, ECS, EKS, serverless, Lambda, API Gateway, and observability tools like X-Ray. What are the benefits of microservices on AWS? They provide scalability, fault isolation, faster development cycles, and technology flexibility. With AWS, each microservice can independently scale, deploy, and use the best fit service. What is the 12-factor app methodology? It's a set of best practices for building modern cloud-native applications. It emphasizes statelessness, configuration via environment variables, dependency isolation, and declarative IAC. AWS services align well with this approach. What is AWS App Mesh? App Mesh is a service mesh that provides application-level networking for microservices. It standardizes communication, provides observability, and controls traffic between services running on ECS, EKS, or Fargate. What is the difference between App Mesh and API Gateway? App Mesh manages service-to-service communication inside microservices. API gateway manages external client-to-service communication. They complement each other in microservices architectures. What is AWS Proton? Proton is a deployment service for container and serverless applications. It provides pre-approved infrastructure and CI/CD templates, ensuring compliance and consistency in large organizations. What is AWS Amplify? Amplify is a framework for building full-stack web and mobile apps. It simplifies back-end services like authentication, APIs, and storage, and provides hosting for front ends with CI/CD integration. What is AWS App Runner? App Runner is a fully managed service for running containerized web applications. It automatically builds from source code or container images, handles scaling, and exposes endpoints without managing infrastructure. What is AWS Well-Architected Serverless Lens? It's an extension of the AWS Well-Architected framework focused on serverless applications. It provides best practices for security, reliability, performance, and cost optimization in serverless architectures. What are common use cases for serverless in AWS? Use cases include web and mobile backends, real-time file processing, example is S3 plus Lambda, event-driven automation, chatbots, Lex plus Lambda, and data pipelines, Kinesis plus Lambda. How do you design a highly available architecture on AWS? You design for high availability by deploying resources across multiple availability zones, using elastic load balancing, auto-scaling, RDS multi-AZ, and Route 53 failover. This ensures redundancy and minimizes downtime. How would you set up disaster recovery on AWS? AWS offers strategies like backup and restore, simplest, lowest cost, pilot light, minimal infra, always running, warm standby, scaled down version of production, multi-site active or active, fully redundant. Tools like Cloud Endure and Route 53 automate failover. How can you achieve cost optimization in AWS? You optimize costs by using reserved or spot instances, S3 lifecycle policies, auto-scaling, trusted advisor recommendations, and moving to serverless where possible. Monitoring with Cost Explorer and budgets is key. How would you design a secure multi-account strategy? Use AWS organizations with service control policies, SCPS, to manage accounts. Create separate accounts for workloads, apply IAM least privilege, use centralized logging, CloudTrail, and enforce GuardDuty and config. How do you design a serverless application on AWS? A serverless app typically uses API gateway plus Lambda plus DynamoDB plus S3 with step functions for workflows and CloudWatch for monitoring. This architecture is scalable, cost-efficient, and reduces operational burden. How would you handle a large-scale migration to AWS? Migrations follow the 6 Rs: rehost, replatform, repurchase, refactor, retire, retain. AWS Migration Hub, Database Migration Service DMS, and Snowball help execute migrations with minimal downtime. How do you design for compliance-heavy industries on AWS? You enforce encryption with KMS, use AWS Artifact for compliance docs, apply IAM least privilege, monitor with config, and deploy workloads in compliance-ready services like RDS HIPAA or GovCloud. How can you implement hybrid cloud with AWS? Use AWS Outposts for running AWS services on premises, Direct Connect for secure connectivity, and Storage Gateway for hybrid storage. This bridges data centers with the AWS cloud. How do you scale a web application on AWS? Place web servers behind an application load balancer, scale with auto-scaling groups, use RDS with red replicas, offload static content to S3 plus CloudFront, and add caching via Elasticache. How do you secure data in AWS? Encrypt data at rest with KMS, in transit with TLS, use IAM and roles for access control, enable S3 bucket policies, and monitor using GuardDuty, Macie, and CloudTrail. How would you design a data lake on AWS? Use S3 as the central storage layer, Glue for ETL, Athena for queries, Lake Formation for access control, and Redshift Spectrum or EMR for advanced analytics. How would you design a real-time analytics pipeline in AWS? Ingest data with Kinesis streams or Firehose, process with Lambda or EMR, store in S3 or Redshift, and visualize in QuickSight. This supports low-latency insights. How do you design a multi-region architecture? Deploy workloads in multiple regions with Route 53 latency or geolocation routing. Replicate databases with Aurora Global Database, and use CloudFront for global distribution. This ensures low latency and resilience. How can you optimize a machine learning pipeline on AWS? Use SageMaker for training and deployment, Spot instances for cost savings, S3 for data storage, Glue for pre-processing, and step functions for orchestration. How would you design a secure VPC architecture? Use private subnets for databases, public subnets for web servers, security groups for instance-level control, NNOCLs for subnet-level rules, and a NAT gateway for outbound internet access from private subnets. How do you design a scalable IoT solution in AWS? Use AWS IoT Core to connect devices, stream data into Kinesis, process with Lambda, store in DynamoDB or S3, and analyze with QuickSight or SageMaker. How do you implement monitoring and observability in AWS? Use CloudWatch for metrics and logs, X-Ray for tracing, CloudTrail for API auditing, and centralize alerts in Security Hub or SNS. Dashboards help with real-time visibility. How do you ensure scalability in serverless apps? Lambda, DynamoDB, and API Gateway scale automatically. Use provisioned concurrency for Lambda to handle cold starts, DynamoDB autoscaling, and throttling policies in API Gateway to protect downstream services. How do you design for fault tolerance in AWS? Deploy across multiple AZs, use multi-AZ RDS, replicate data across regions, and configure load balancing with failover. Services like S3 and DynamoDB are inherently fault-tolerant. How do you plan for cost governance in AWS? Implement tagging for resources, set budgets with AWS budgets, enforce policies with organizations, and use Cost Explorer to track trends. Regular cost reviews ensure governance. What is AWS Outposts? AWS Outposts brings AWS infrastructure and services to on-premises environments. It extends AWS consistency to hybrid cloud use cases, enabling workloads that need low latency or data residency compliance. What is AWS Wavelength? Wavelength integrates AWS services into telecom 5G networks, enabling ultra-low latency applications like AR or VR, IoT, and autonomous vehicles by placing compute closer to end users. What is AWS Local Zones? Local zones bring compute, storage, and networking closer to population centers, ideal for latency-sensitive apps like gaming, streaming, or financial trading. What is the AWS well-architected framework's importance for the future? It guides organizations in building secure, high-performing, resilient, and cost-optimized workloads. As systems become more complex, the framework ensures best practices are consistently applied. What are some trends in AWS serverless evolution? Trends include more granular billing, reduced cold starts, broader language/runtime support, and deeper integration with AI and ML services. Serverless adoption is expanding to enterprise-scale systems. What is the future of containers on AWS? Containers will continue growing with ECS, EKS, and Fargate. AWS is investing in simplifying orchestration, hybrid container management, and tighter integration with security and observability tools. How is AWS evolving for hybrid cloud? Through services like Outposts, Snow Family, Direct Connect, and Local Zones, AWS is making hybrid cloud seamless. Enterprises will increasingly run workloads across on-premises and cloud with consistent tools. What is AWS's role in edge computing? AWS provides edge services like Greengrass, Outposts, and Wavelength. Edge computing reduces latency and supports IoT, smart cities, and connected vehicles by processing data closer to users. How is AWS addressing AI or ML future workloads? AWS is expanding SageMaker capabilities, investing in specialized hardware, Inferentia, Trainium, and offering managed services like Bedrock for generative AI. This reduces barriers for enterprise AI adoption. What is AWS Bedrock? Bedrock is a managed service that allows developers to build and scale generative AI applications using foundation models without managing infrastructure. It supports text, image, and multimodal models. How does AWS support sustainability goals? AWS aims for 100% renewable energy by 2025 and net zero carbon by 2040. Services like Cost Explorer and well-architected sustainability pillar help customers reduce energy and resource usage. What is AWS Nitro system? Nitro is the hardware and software system powering modern EC2 instances. It offloads virtualization tasks, improving security and performance, while enabling bare metal and flexible instance types. How is quantum computing supported in AWS? Through Amazon Braket, a managed quantum service that lets researchers design, test, and run quantum algorithms on real quantum hardware or simulators. What is AWS Graviton? Graviton is AWS's family of ARM-based processors. They deliver better price performance compared to x86 instances, especially for general-purpose, compute, and memory-intensive workloads. How is AWS enabling multi-cloud strategies? While AWS promotes its own services, it supports multi-cloud with tools like Kubernetes, EKS, Terraform compatibility, and data transfer services like Snowball and DataSync for interoperability. What is the future of data lakes and analytics in AWS? Future directions include more automation in data preparation, Glue, AI-driven insights, QuickSight Q, and tighter integration between Redshift, CloudFormation, and SageMaker for unified analytics plus ML pipelines. What is the role of AWS Marketplace in future cloud ecosystems? AWS Marketplace is expanding as a hub for SaaS, ML models, security solutions, and data products. It will accelerate innovation by letting enterprises consume third-party tools seamlessly. How will AWS security evolve? AWS will enhance zero-trust architectures, deeper encryption integration, and AI-driven threat detection across services. Expect stronger automation in compliance and anomaly detection. What is the biggest challenge AWS will face in the future? Balancing innovation with cost optimization and sustainability while competing with Azure, GCP, and multi-cloud strategies. Complexity management at enterprise scale will remain a challenge. What is the ultimate vision of AWS Cloud? The vision is to provide a fully managed, globally distributed platform where organizations can build applications faster, smarter, and greener, with seamless integration of AI, edge, and multi-cloud, empowering digital transformation everywhere. You've just completed 200 AWS Cloud interview questions and answers, covering everything from the basics to advanced architectures and future directions. If this helped you prepare, don't forget to like, subscribe, and hit the bell for more expert-level content. Share your toughest AWS interview question in the comments, and I'll cover it in a future session.